It's Monday! Do you need some Monday motivation? The Shop Local for Good News team is here. I'm Karena Morrison, and we're bringing you the good news stories of our neighbors doing good in our neighborhoods.
You can find us on Facebook Live on the Shop Local for Good page, and we're looking forward to your calls.
Let's get this Shop Local for Good News conversation started, shall we? Happy Monday, everybody. This is Karena Morrison with Shop Local for Good News, and this is Monday Motivation on the Tan Talk Radio Network. You can tune in live to our show live every Monday morning from approximately 7:06 a.m. until 8:59.30 every Monday morning. We want to give a shout out to our amazing producer, Ed, and thank him for coming out this past Saturday to the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival, because we broadcast live from the Mac and Cheese Fest, and we appreciate that he traveled up there. And it was a great way to connect with everyone live on the air from the field, from the trenches, shall we say. This morning we are going to be going over Monday Motivations. Our first hour, we're going to be talking about overcoming the obstacles. And I'm wondering if you guys could guess why we're going to be talking about that. Because whenever you do a big festival, there are going to be obstacles, because there's a lot of families involved. There's a lot of family-owned businesses that sometimes, especially in the food truck world, you have to understand they are mobile vendors. And when it comes to mobile, sometimes there's mechanical issues. So we did have a few trucks that were unable to make it. We had a fantastic turnout. We really want to thank everybody that's tuning in, and we want to thank everybody that came out to enjoy the mac and cheese and to have a wonderful afternoon with your friends and family. It was also a fundraiser for nonprofits in our community. We want to thank the nonprofit teams that came out. If you're not aware, the nonprofits that Shop Local for Good and the Benevolution Foundation work with are mainly volunteer managed. So when you're counting on volunteers and you're a volunteer, and a couple of our nonprofits that we work with in the community are single moms, that does present a few challenges for them. So the first hour is the Benevolution Foundation block. That is actually the nonprofit arm of Shop Local for Good. And Benevolution Foundation's mission is to assist. I've been personally working alongside of and helping locally focused nonprofit missions in our community for 2 decades. How old are you, Lorena? 21. She's 21. Over 2 decades. So my passion is to build our communities stronger by empowering our neighbors who are doing good in our neighborhoods. That's basically simply it. My mission is to empower our neighbors who are doing good in our neighborhoods. So last year, I actually stepped away from the corporate world, and it was community activism. I've been involved in community activism in a nonpartisan and a partisan manner for, a long time. And it's probably over 2 decades on that one, too. And I've been a teacher, and I've been a lot of things. I'm a home educator as well. I've taught in public and private, and when my kids came along, I decided to use my teaching degree to teach my children at home. And I have 3 children. The entire Morrison family was voluntold that they had to be at the mac and cheese event to help Mom's business. And Shop Local for Good is a business in our community, and we we partner with the Benevolution Foundation to bring the festivals like the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival to the community to build awareness of locally focused nonprofits, especially all volunteer managed. And the reasoning behind that is having so much experience working alongside of them. I have identified some challenges that they need to overcome, and so I want to help them learn and help them grow, because if we're empowering locally focused all volunteer or just majorly volunteer managed locally focused nonprofits, then we are and then we are donating to them, your dollars are that much more empowered. So instead of donating to like a national organization where you're not quite sure if your neighbors are going to be helped, because they do help a lot of people, the nationals do, but they aren't exactly as focused in our neighborhoods as the locally focused ones. So, for example, Kids Campaign is one of my favorites. I'm not allowed to have favorites, but I have my favorites. Kids Campaign is a locally focused nonprofit, and they have a dual mission. So their mission is to share love with pediatric cancer families that are struggling with certain expenses that some of the major nonprofits can't cover because of the bandwidth that they have. So they actually work right with the families who reach out to them for help. And then they also have a volunteerism mission that encourages our neighbors to have fun while you're volunteering and then get someone to sponsor you. So, for example, one of my favorite ones they have is you go to the boss and say, "Hey, we want a casual work day, so we're willing to donate $10 each to Kids Campaign if Boss Man will, or Boss Woman, will allow us to wear jeans on Friday." So that's a fun way that you can raise money for Kids Campaign. And then, we could get the kids involved. Um, Say there is an elderly person in the neighborhood that needs help with their lawn, and your young man or young woman, and you have a lawnmower and you want to help them out with their lawn every week, so you reach out to your friends and family and say, "Hey, I want to help Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones down the street with their lawn every week, and I would like to help raise funds for Kids Campaigns, Sharing Love campaign too. Are you willing to sponsor me?" So then, somebody sponsors you, your child learns how what the good feeling is about giving back in your neighborhood at a young age. And there's been studies, if we get our children involved in charity and philanthropy at a young age, they tend to stay giving. It builds their empathy for others, and it also, helps them get out into the community and learn more about the world. So that's just one of our nonprofits. And then we had Bowls for Good that was out there Saturday, and they had the lathe with them, and they were inviting the guests of mac and cheese to either make a pen, or what else were they making? Did you get over there, Lorena? I saw the pens. They were beautiful. Yeah. So we want to give a shout out to Ben with Bowls for Good for coming out and setting up the lathe, and for being a big part of the community too. Part of his mission is to work alongside of Feeding Tampa Bay and raise enough funds to do food giveaways in a couple of our neighborhoods that we have in Pinellas County that are food deserts. And if you're not aware of what a food desert is, it's basically a community that has a severe lack of access to fresh fruits and vegetables and food that is healthy for them. So, Feeding Tampa Bay is huge partner of Bowls for Good, and Bowls for Good works really hard on raising funds for that effort. And then they've got another program that's really really neat. It's sort of like a pen pal program on steroids. They're partnering across the world with communities to help nonprofits in smaller areas like in Africa and England. And basically, they're doing an exchange. So Ben will send wood from the Americas overseas for, or wait, no, they send wood from their countries here, and then the pens are made here, and then they exchange them with the kids overseas. I'm probably really ruining this explanation. Go to Bowls for Good on Facebook and connect with Ben. Send him a message, and he'll let you know that the real deal behind it. But that's just an international way that Bowls for Good is helping, and he also has a local focus. And then we had Kids Campaign, Bowls for Good, and we had Bailey's Way Rescue. We got a big announcement about Bailey's Way Rescue. We also had a challenge going on with the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival. It was a People's Choice Challenge. So all the nonprofits were asked to encourage their supporters to vote for them. A vote was $2. We had it available online, live, and then we had it available at the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival. And so for $2, you could vote for your favorite nonprofits. So we awarded Tampa Bay's People's Choice favorite local nonprofit. We awarded Bailey's Way Rescue. They had the most votes, so congratulations to Bailey's Way Rescue. Not only will they receive the proceeds from the Benevolution Foundation, the proceeds of the votes, they are also going to receive a donation from Shop Local for Good of over $1,000 in promotional and marketing help for their mission in Tampa Bay. So Shop Local for Good is really thrilled that we're going to be working with them over the next year and help build their mission. Bailey's Way Rescue mission is to help with fostering animals. They actually go around and get animals out of the kill shelters and they foster them in homes. And they are all volunteer managed, all volunteer run fostering, puppy dog fostering. And they had the cutest puppy dogs at the Mac and Cheese Fest. It was pretty awesome. Excuse me for a moment. I had to take a drink. So we had Bailey's Way Rescue, we had Kids Campaign, and we have Bowls for Good. You can find all of them on Facebook Live. I mean, we're on Facebook Live too. So you go to Shop Local for Good's page, and you can say hi to us. Lorena is tasked today, my camera woman extraordinaire, with letting me know who is on and who says hi. I saw Donnie joined us. Yep. Shout out to Donnie with DJ's Homemade Salsa. I gotta tell you, he is a one-man show, but he has some fantastic friends that really step it up. And he was in two places at once. See, I need to get with Donnie about that. About he skipped the whole cloning machine, and he has some great friends that step up. And he had a friend out at the Mac and Cheese, and the line was long. So I hope DJ's Homemade Salsa got a lot of spice in people's lives. He was also a sponsor of Bailey's Way Rescue's door prize basket. So not only did you get to vote, you also could win the door prize. So congratulations to Sandy Lapp. She won the door prize for the Lapp family. Actually won the door prizes for a kids campaign that was sponsored by Aunt Niecy Specialty Foods. And kids campaign actually wanted to deliver the basket. I hadn't told Bailey's Way Rescue that I would deliver theirs. And before I realized that the same family won two baskets. So we're going to meet up with the Lap family at the MarketSpace for Good because that's where we're going to be having the gift basket pickup on November 10th. Now, hey, I got exciting news about MarketSpace for Good. We are growing for good. We are moving to downtown Clearwater in the beautiful creative suites of Station Square on Friday night. Yes, the night before the Mac and Cheese Festival. My husband um, actually hung the shelves. He hung 20 of them. There's more because what the MarketSpace for Good does is we're not just a retail space. We are hashtag more than a shelf. We're an entrepreneur incubator, and MarketSpace for Good is a project of the Shop Local for Good family. So we are currently actively looking for market vendors because we're adding something else, Lorena. A Saturday community market. Because Market Space for Good, the creative suites that we're in, has a gorgeous patio that is connected to the building that we're in. And so we're going to be offering local handcrafters, artists, artisans. We're especially looking for locally crafted items to be on the patio with us every Saturday for the Saturday Community Market starting November 10th. And basically, we're providing the cover. We just Shop Local for Good invested in two 10 by 30 tents because we want at least 10 vendors on the patio, and then we're going to have 20 inside on the shelves. So that's 30 vendors you can shop with, all within less than one block.
By the way, Anne Marie says good morning.
Good morning, Anne Marie. Anne Marie is with Festival Hot Sauce. Lorena knows this because she's also my inventory manager. It's great for you to join us, Anne Marie. Oh boy, Anne Marie has some pepper jellies that you'll once you taste her pepper jellies, and they're also locally crafted. They're pretty delicious. So hopefully we can get Anne Marie out for one of the community markets, Saturday community market in downtown Clearwater. She is a busy lady, and she is traveling all over. So some of the best market vendors are booked for weeks. But how we do it a little differently because we want to rotate through a variety of vendors so that you can come out every Saturday and find somebody new. And what Lorena and I do on the weekends when there's not an annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival, we actually go to other markets and we love to meet the vendors and see their work and see how they set up because we want this community market to be an enjoyable experience to all our visitors and all our shoppers. And then the Benevolution Foundation is also looking into doing a fresh fruit and vegetable stand that will be available at the community market with organic vegetables and fruits. And that part will be a fundraiser for the Benevolution Foundation's mission. Our mission, the funds will go towards sponsoring nonprofits with the expense of training them and getting them up to speed on best practices with community organizing. Now, I did mention that we were going to be talking about overcoming the obstacles, so I do want to address some issues that were brought to our attention that were had at the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival. And I do want everyone to know that I am replying to everyone's message. There were quite a few. There was, when the week before you go to scout the property and you pull down the road and you see a really big road closed sign, that's enough to give an event organizer a heart attack. Well, that's what happened to me. The week before, I pulled down off of Tampa Road onto Riviera Road, and the road was all torn up. And, wasn't even paying attention to the big fat sign on Tampa Road that said there was a detour. And so when I pulled up last week, I noticed that sign. I was sitting there, and one of the workers came up to the door, and he promised me that they would be done by Saturday, and the road would be open. Um, Surprise, surprise! When I turned off of Tampa Road again on Saturday morning to get to the setup and get to go live on the air, we do want to thank Tan Talk Radio Network for being a major sponsor of the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival and for broadcasting live from the event. Um, the road closed signs were still up. So that might have been a deterrent for some. We did do our best to move them out of the way because the road was open, but the signs were still up. And then we will have a caller in the second hour as Andre Johnson from Urban Angels Transport and his partner with the other transport service, whose name has just escaped me, but I will look it up and give him a shout out too. Those guys were phenomenal. We had set up an opportunity in the public shopping center because there was so much parking there for people to park in the shopping center and then shuttle over with their gorgeous van. It was an 11 passenger van, Mercedes no less. And they were in the parking lot, and there was some confusion about where to park and where to meet them. So I'm gonna go ahead and take responsibility because part of being a small business owner, an effective small business owner, is recognizing the obstacles, reviewing the obstacles that you have in any campaign or effort or sale that you're putting on, and then addressing them so that you can do better next time, right, Lorena? So I'm going to go ahead and take responsibility for that, not being more specific in the Facebook event about where to meet their team. But we did pivot. That is another word you're going to hear from me a lot because the guys with Urban Angels Transport Service are professionals, and they came over to the event because the families were parking at the park down the street, and they ended up taking people back to their cars. So, and it was a gorgeous day, and a couple of people actually just made the comment that they prefer to walk. So, hey, everybody needs exercise. We weren't going to drag them in the van kicking and screaming, because that would be rude. So, but Urban Angels Transport Service did a phenomenal job on assessing the issue and then helping me because I was trying to do too much. That's another obstacle that actually I struggle with as a business owner, a small business owner, and a leader of a local nonprofit. And I'm not the only one, but I am going to admit that it's hard for me to ask for help because I don't want to impose on people. Most of the people that I do run with, I guess you could call it that, are very, very busy and active people. I do have some phenomenal friends that did show up on Saturday and volunteered, which was fantastic. I want to offer Paula Vricos my sincere thanks, and Teresa Robinson my sincere thanks. And then there was my entire family. And I'm going to give a shout out to a wonderful couple that came out later in the afternoon to help take over because Paula needed to go to Safety Harbor. If you heard the live broadcast, she was also working the Wine Fest in Safety Harbor. So, but she came out early. Paula did and helped out. And we also had our helper show up that I'm looking for. I actually have so many emails that I responded to from the event because I basically said if you had an issue and you want me to address it, just email me. And a couple of my friends are like, "Why are you putting yourself through that trauma?" And here's why. I want to explain my thought process because I have the thought process that I can always learn from someone else. And if someone has a problem or an issue, most often they just want to be heard. They want to be recognized. They want their issue to be recognized. So when you put yourself out there as a small business owner or even a nonprofit leader, and you had issues with whatever event that you were trying to do, and people are letting you know about the issues, you want to address them, because if people don't feel heard, if they don't feel recognized, that just ups the negativity level. And I've had some really great exchanges with people who were a little upset about how things went, and explained we had a few food trucks that had some mechanical issues. The food trucks that were there were phenomenal. The lines just did not stop. And we did end up running out of macaroni and cheese earlier than expected. The event went on until 5, and I think our last food vendor ran out of macaroni and cheese right about 4:30. So it was a tad early to run out of mac and cheese, and we did address that. Next year we are going to be expanding because there are last minute issues, and it is really challenging to get a food truck to come out at the last minute. So we did have that issue. I'm looking for our other volunteer, because the one thing that you want to make, Kate Wackerman, I found her. Kate came out with her husband, and they were handling the afternoon shift, and it was awesome. My son really stepped up big time. And yes, I'm going to give my son a shout out. And so did my daughter, Lorena and Linda. My daughters, Lorena and Linda. And my husband. My husband got there at 8 in the morning to set up all the event fencing, because Lorena and I had some wrap up to do with some of the printing. Oh, other obstacle? Don't wait until the last minute to get some stuff done. We had a printer issue. So the signs that were planned for the check-in table were not able to be printed. So it was a little bit chaotic in the beginning. That I do take responsibility for too, because there were different options for the ticket pricing. We do appreciate the patience of everyone that showed up. Noah's Ark Petting Zoo and Pony Rides, their team was phenomenal in getting people directed to the right place. So those signs will go up next year too. People are like, "Why are you telling all this bad stuff?" It wasn't all bad. We had a great time. I had approximately, I'd say, a dozen families that actually made a point to come up and say thank you, which, that's just special to somebody who has put everything that they had and more into trying to put together an event that is family friendly and for a good cause, for actually 8 good causes, because the peanut butter PB and jelly deli truck was out there. Now, for those of you who came out and wondered why on earth we had a PB and jelly deli truck at a macaroni and cheese fall festival, I will tell you that PB and Jelly Deli is a nonprofit, and they're with Radius Church. And what they do is every sandwich that you purchase from their truck, they serve a sandwich for free to a hungry neighbor. So I actually invite them out to all of my events and allow them to be there at no cost, because they're another one of my favorite nonprofits. I have a lot of favorites, so when I say favorite, I have a lot of favorites. So that's why we had PB and Jelly Deli. And it's not just, this is not your mama's peanut butter and jelly, boys and girls. It is gourmet. I think St. Pete Savory is probably their most popular one. At least when they posted on their page, Lorena, that they were going to be there, they that there was all kinds of comments, and because they're based in St. Petersburg, all their St. Pete followers were like, "Oh wow, I gotta go to Pelham Harbor to catch you." But hey, we need some love in North County too. We need some PB and Jelly Deli love. So we were pleased that they came out, and they had a great afternoon too. So I'm excited about that. I'll get their numbers so we can see how many neighbors that the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival was able to help out with the PB and Jelly Deli. I'm going to get with Noah on that one. We had a Noah's Ark petting zoo on wheels, and then we had Noah in the peanut butter and jelly deli truck. So shout out to Noah. Oh, and their truck is also all volunteer managed. See, are you sensing a theme here? Are you sensing a theme? Oh, and so we've got some winners to announce. The Tampa Bay's best mac and cheese was selected by a panel of celebrity judges, local celebrity judges, that we also want to thank for coming out and volunteering. That's, it's just awesome when very, very busy people take the time to volunteer for such worthy causes and fun events. So I want to give a shout out to Edie Darling of Edie Darling's 3 is Enough, and Folk University, who is also playing some fantastic music. The guys with Folk University, Mike Twitty and John Thrasher, and then Eddie Adams Jr. with Porch Talk Radio. We had 4 celebrity judges, and they tasted the mac and cheese that was available at the event, and they made the decision that the King's Bistro family was Tampa Bay's best mac and cheese. So, and then it's funny. So I announced it in the event, and even after promoting the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival since December of 2017, little did I know that there is a macaroni and cheese truck I didn't know about, and somebody that was following the post, they're all excited about coming next year. So I already have one truck, Lorena, and he's a competitor. If you guys want to see something funny, go to the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival event, but you're going to have to check out the announcement about Sweetest Treat, because somehow the conversation got started on there. It's funny. Until I told him, hey, by the way, you're commenting on the wrong post. But shout out to Gladys and her family with the King's Bistro. They were working hard. The lines just did not stop. They were working hard on Saturday, and they were trying to raise funds for the New Hope Church Youth Activity Center. But when when you're that busy, I didn't want to distract from the food trucks because we wanted people to get fed. So we took over for that for our food vendors, and but she did a fantastic job, her and her family. And congratulations to the King's Bistro. They're on Facebook as King's Bistro. So go over there and give them a congratulations on winning Tampa Bay's best mac and cheese, selected by our celebrity panel. And then we had Sweetest Treat. That was another one of the rewards. And this year's winner, they won last year for Foodie Favorite, and then they won this year for Sweetest Treat. We want to give a shout out to the Brain Freeze Please family, another fantastic family-run business. They're expanding their menu too. They are doing, they do shaved ice, they do rolled ice cream. I was talking to her yesterday. She was telling me how much they're expanding their menu, and they're going to be doing like a mini lunch service. So we're working on getting them out to the Saturday community market so they can, serve some snacks and maybe some of their fantastic rolled ice cream. And they do shaved ice milkshakes. And then she was telling me that their cream that they use is top of the line. So y'all need to look up Brain Freeze, please, on Facebook. I'm gonna just give you all kinds of Facebook homework today. So, and don't forget, if you're driving in your car or riding in the car, well, if you're riding, I guess you could take notes. But if you're driving in your car, you don't need to take notes. I'm gonna announce all of the winners in our Facebook event. We do set up an event every week. Last this event for this show was a little late, so we were catching up with wrapping up Saturday's events. Another obstacle you have to overcome. Some people don't understand that when an event is over, that does not mean that the work is done. My family, I think we landed back at home. The event was over at 5, and we landed back at home at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then you have to unload everything. And so I think my husband was finally done by 9:30. That's a long day. And he works all week. And he's really glad that the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival is only once a year. And by the way, that was one of the comments that we received, is that we needed to have it twice a year. But then it wouldn't be an annual event. It would be biannual. Or is that the words? Twice a year. So we're going to also meet up with the New Hope Church team later this week and address some of the issues that we had. What were the other issues that we had? Layout. We did move the event venue back in, and we had several market vendors that were unable to attend, so we could have pushed the event back even further and had more parking on site. So parking was an issue again this year. We may have to, as we grow, I'm thinking that we're probably most likely going to have to move it to a bigger venue. That way we can have a lot more trucks. Another idea that I'd like to consider, and I'd like to get our listeners' feedback on, is because this was a suggestion. See, once again, we learn from people who contact us. A suggestion was to have tasting tickets. So instead of the adults being free, what we do is we have a flat fee for you to have up to 10 tastings, and then we just get a whole lot more trucks to come out. And with the lines that we had this year, we could have had 3 times as many trucks. So, and then moving it to a bigger venue, the parking will be more convenient. We'll be able to have a way bigger shopping, a lot more vendors. And then, maybe we can have a battle of the zoos. Bring a couple more zoos out, because Marissa and her family are fantastic. They're really good. But can you imagine Battle of the Zoos? For those that aren't aware, there's a couple of locally family-run petting zoos that do travel on occasion. I think we could talk a couple. I know Marissa wants to come back next year. 200 kids. Do we have anybody joining us?
Yeah, Lorraine Riva.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you doing this beautiful Monday morning?
She gave us a thumbs up.
We got a thumbs up. All right. Now, what we want to review, because the first block is overcoming obstacles. I do want to let everybody know that, when you're doing a festival or working, your small business, even if you're in direct sales or whatever, you're going to have to overcome obstacles. You're going to have to be flexible and learn how to pivot. I have found that I've pivoted so much in the past couple years as an entrepreneur that it's a life lesson to learn how to pivot without letting it overwhelm you. So it can be overwhelming. I've taught myself how to be calm in the storm. someone came up to me Saturday and basically made the comment, I know that you're dealing with a whole lot right now, but nobody can tell. So that was nice. I didn't look like I was running around with like a chicken with my head cut off. And the point is when you're representing your nonprofit or your company and things aren't going well, is to recognize the issue. First of all, don't freak out, because freaking out doesn't help you. And then it just upsets people around you, and then everybody's freaking out, and then the issue grows. So if there's an issue, you stay calm, you get feedback from those who are around you. For example, when we were having a challenge with the check-in and the ticket processing, my daughter, Lorena, is a phenom on Square. So she took a couple people aside and showed them the process so that we could speed that up. And then Teresa Robinson stepped up with her phone. Was it her phone or your phone that she was using? She stepped up with her phone, downloaded the Square app, and then had Lorena log in. Oh, okay. In case you can't hear Lorena in the background, she's giving me a recap of the day, because basically Lorena was manning, because she's had so much MarketSpace for good experience and festival experience for a 21-year-old. She was she was my obstacle overcomer, because mom was running around making sure the vendors were good to go, and that our guests were taken care of. And so I do want to give a shout out to all the vendors that did show up, that were able to make it. Gabby Lyons with It Works was there, our dear friend Gabby, and Sandy Cartier with Lasting Kisses by Sandy. She's with Lip Sense or Synogens. They do more than lips, but I'm so hooked on their lipstick. In fact, I just noticed today that I'm running out of my favorite color, but I was too busy to shop with her, so I'm gonna have to catch up with her later. And then we had Elaine Houlihan with Bows and Butterflies, and it looks like we've got a caller coming in possibly. Okay, I'm talking, and then we had our sponsors. The Ignite Chiropractic and Wellness team was out there with their massage therapist, and we had United Vein Centers came out, and they were telling me that they had quite a few people, and one person that actually identified an issue with their veins, and they're going to get some help for them. So that makes me feel good. Andre is calling in. Oh, great. Andre with Urban Angels Transport is calling in early. I'm excited. Hey, Andre.
Hi, good morning.
How are you this morning?
Pretty good, ma'am. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I was bragging about you, your professionalism, your team's professionalism. And you're gonna, because we were talking late last night, and I have just totally had a brain freeze. What's Dante's company's name?
It's MBC Transportation Services.
Okay, so you partner up with him on occasions on bigger festivals?
Correct. Basically, Urban Angels Transport Service is kind of like how labor pool works with people in the community with finding jobs.
Great.
And just basically, if the job, I could have handled myself, but I try to also incorporate other small businesses who are in the transport business to get involved with this transport open market for transportation.
I love that passion in you, and so I do want to thank you both, because you recognized an obstacle and a challenge, and you resolved it, which is this is why we deal with professionals.
Exactly.
Because I can't know transportation and event planning.
Well, although I saw a lot, it looked like you could do a lot of things. I think you could have.
Oh, wow.
A super multitasker you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I do want to let our neighbors know a little bit more about you. I just enjoy having conversations with you because you're so passionate as a small business owner, and you're really passionate about engaging the community and building the community stronger. So we're good to go and similar in that manner. So what drove you? What was the impetus behind starting Urban Angels Transport Service?
Well, I was into marketing. I've been doing marketing since I was like 15 years old, and like a lot of things, you find yourself getting burned out with some jobs, and I just found myself with getting fed up with working with certain companies where my creativity wasn't being respected. It's just things get difficult in the workplace, so I found myself wanting to focus more on self-employment. Um, so I opened up. I got involved with doing the ride sharing with Uber and Lyft. I got an idea of how that kind of worked, and I found myself wanting to get more involved with providing transportation because I started noticing the clients for Uber and Lyft were their complaints. Uber and
Okay.
Lyft doesn't have that customer service where they're actually really paying attention to the customer. In any business I've ever worked for, the number one thing, even with customer service, is people forget to listen. They hear you, but they don't listen.
Right.
And I found myself really listening to the problems that Uber and Lyft was not listening to their customers. So the number one thing was clean transportation, reliable transportation, respectful, going above and beyond for the customer, being patient. So I tried to come up with a way to provide a transportation that Uber and Lyft was not doing, and that is with a circle of drivers that you build a relationship with. You're able to get little things done. I mean, we do a lot of stuff with the senior communities and the veterans. Well, we simply do small things like store runs. You're feeling a little under the weather today, and you just don't want to go to take your dog to the vet. We can do that. You don't want to go to Walmart to pick up that online order. We can do that. You need help getting to your doctor's appointment. You want to get to church. We can get you there. If you're putting together events, whether it's a event like the wonderful ones you do, or you want to travel, it's family gathering, anything, we will customize that transportation for you and make it happen. So again, like you said, when you're trying to put together an event, whether it's a wedding or anything, the last thing you want to worry about is another issue is keeping up with the people, how they're going to get to where they're supposed to get, keeping everyone together, all of that.
Yeah, Dante has a beautiful van.
Oh yes, it is. I'm kind of jealous. He pulls up in a nice Mercedes. It's like, we had our hands on a Ford, and then he pulls up in the Benz. It's like, okay.
Like, man, don't do that to me. Oh my goodness.
But I
So,
mean, I'm just a person, Miss Morrison, that I like to help people. I'm a God-fearing man, and I said that all of us have a purpose here on this earth to do the right thing. We're not perfect. We all fall short of the glory of God, but it's about catching yourself and making it better. You
right.
know, um, we all struggle, and it's about working together and making it better, and that's what the communities need to do. Just the same way I had that passion, and you recognize that. If more of our community and community representatives were more involved with the children, making events happen, and with the adults and even making awareness of what's available as far as products and services in our communities, then things will work better, I believe. You know?
Yeah, it's all about refocusing, because there's so much noise on a national level and even a state level. There's so much noise. There's noise on the
Mm-hmm.
TV. There's just too much noise of
Yeah.
issues that families, and because I've spent a lot of time just talking to my neighbors. My previous job was actually involved canvassing, so
Mm.
I've had conversations with, I would say, tens of thousands of people over the last 20 years. Um, and hearing, you're right on the listening. People think they're listening, but they're not really hearing what's being said. And
Right.
so if when you build that skill, and that's the skill we need to instill in our children young, to
Correct.
actually listen And when you're listening, you're not listening with the intention of um, going back at them with something else. You're actually listening to your neighbor and what's concerning them, and having a conversation instead of a confrontation. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So and then so when you take the noise from the national level away, and you take the noise from the state level away, and you focus directly on your neighbors in your community, and identifying your common ground, about 80% of us agree on 80% of the issues. So,
Hmm.
you know, stop listening to the people who want to keep power over you,
Right.
and start listening to your neighbors and recognize that, I noticed more and more, which is why I walked away from what I was doing, that
Hmm.
people were believing the lies. And
Right.
yeah, believing the lies that we aren't alike in more ways than we are different. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Absolutely.
and you and I have a connection in a community that I have a passion to serve too, the Greenwood community.
Hmm.
Doing volunteer work with the Clearwater MLK Junior Neighborhood Center for a year or so, and getting it reopened was
Hmm.
a good thing. It looks like we're going to need to go to a commercial break. So, yep, Ed's giving me the 1 minute sign. So, Andre, we would love to have you call back in after your next transport if you have time. And
Okay.
thank you for calling in.
Yes, ma'am. My pleasure.
All right,
More than
well,
happy to be here.
all right, we'll be back with Shop Local for Good News Monday Motivation Live after the break. It's Monday. Do you need some Monday motivation? The Shop Local for Good News team is here. I'm Karena Morrison, and we're bringing you the good news stories of our neighbors doing good in our neighborhoods.
You can find us on Facebook Live on the Shop Local for Good page, and we're looking forward to your calls.
Let's get this Shop Local for Good News conversation started, shall we? And we're back. This is Shop Local for Good News. I'm Karena Morrison, your host, and we have behind the camera is my daughter, Lorena Morrison. We are on Facebook Live. We air live every Monday on the Shop Local for Good News, or the Shop Local for Good page on Facebook Live. So if you have a small business or a local nonprofit and you want to join us and give your business a shout out, just come in and comment on our Facebook Live page. We appreciate all of our radio listeners on the Tan Talk Radio Network. We are live on FM 106.1 and FM 104.3. And we're also live on AM 1340, 1350, and 1400. And if you're on the interwebs, they also have this really cool thing on their website on tantalknetwork.com that broadcasts live, and we're on YouTube. We're everywhere. We're all over the place. We want to give a shout out to our friends at Angie's Grill at 1732 Drew Street. I'm Karena. Lorena and I we've started a special Monday tradition because we love Angela and Juan of Angie's Grill, and Miss Shelley, the server extraordinaire. I tell you what, if you wake up and you're in a grumpy mood, and you want a really fantastic omelet, or they have waffles that are good too. Everything there is good. They serve breakfast all day until 3:30. However, if you wake up in a grumpy mood and Shelley is serving at Angie's Grill at 1732 Drew Street, and you go and have breakfast and Shelley's there, if you walk out in a bad mood, you just need to go back home and get in bed, because she is just a phenomenal person, fantastic waitress, server. I need to be more politically correct. And she's just got a fantastic attitude. And I get a hug. She'll give you a hug if you ask her, right, Lorena? Sometimes she gives you a hug if you don't ask her, if she knows you. It's not that creepy, I swear. So, what I was looking up, because during the break, we were talking about one of the food trucks at the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival, mentioned to me that how much does 1 pound of macaroni feed? Let's see. They mentioned to me that they actually cooked 6 pounds of macaroni.
Wow.
Yeah. So they say a pound of pasta can serve up to 6 people? No, that can't be right. That's a pound of cooked pasta. Google fail. How many servings in 6 pounds of uncooked macaroni? I can't believe I'm doing this live on the air. So what we want to do is continue with thanking the market vendors that came out to the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival. These are all hardworking small business owners in our community. Many of them we know personally. Our family knows personally. And we want to thank Ted with Jerky Man Dan's. He has all kinds of jerky from all kinds of gator, kangaroo, ostrich. My daughter likes his jerky, can you tell? We want to thank Paws Dog Bakery for stepping up. Our other pet bakery had a family issue, and I called them, I kid you not, at 9:30 on Friday night and asked Suzanne with Paws Dog Bakery if she could fill in, and phenomenal. She's just a professional. It was great. She's like, well, I thought I had the Saturday off, but hey, I'll be there. So that was awesome. Lula Rowe with Kathy Adams was there. Of course, DJ's Homemade Salsa was there. Tina Parker, she's our Mary Kay consultant extraordinaire. And we can't forget Aunt Niecy's. Who could forget Aunt Niecy? You can't forget Aunt Niecy.
I think she has something new, like a caramel pear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, fun story. Just fun fact. My family absolutely loves Aunt Niecy's fruit butters. Pretty much everything Aunt Niecy makes. And Aunt Niecy came out with a new flavor, and it's called caramel pear. And my 15-year-old, who got pretty adventurous, went over to visit Aunt Niecy because I think we're just going to adopt her as part of the family. She went over and was taster testing, and she tasted the new caramel pear.
Caramel pear honey, I think.
Caramel pear honey? I don't know, but it sounds really good. And apparently my 15-year-old, who, by the way, is a sugar addict, I'm just going to admit that right now on the air live to everybody. If she likes something that is low in sugar, see, that's part of Aunt Niecy's mission too. Is it's called all fruit and nothing but the fruit. Now sometimes she does add a teeny tiny, but she keeps her glycemic level low. And for my child, who puts in 4 teaspoons of honey into 1 cup, because it's not sweet enough. For her to go over the moon for the new caramel pear, I'm sure it's not too sweet, but I'm thinking your kids will like it, is what I'm saying. So what we do with Aunt Niecy's fruit butters is, because we can't have PB and Jelly Deli park in our driveway year round, we make our own gourmet peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with her fruit butters, and they are phenomenal. So yes, thank you to Aunt Niecy for being there. And then did I mention funnel cake some more, or did I do the foods? I did it on Facebook. See, Facebook Live is getting a behind-the-scenes thing when you guys are on break. So let's just review, shall we, the food. Oh, man, I'm going to have a big breakfast at Angie's Grill this morning. Okay. The King's Bistro actually won Tampa Bay's Best Mac and Cheese. And we had Pamela's Homestyle Cooking. And they were the ones that told me that they went through 6 pounds of, they had to cook 6 pounds of pasta. I'm going to look up that number. How much is a serving of dry pasta? Okay. My math skills on Monday are slow. Then we had Scone Age Bakery and Cafe. I want to give a huge shout out to Chef Shelley because what she did, she's also a dear friend. She's actually opening the cafe, and she's getting it all ready. And I was searching high and low. Y'all, I was building this event since December of 2017. So I was searching high and low for a vegetarian option because we don't want to leave out our vegan friends. And Chef Shelley is a phenomenal chef, and she has a vegan, organic, gluten-free mac and cheese. So she actually pushed off the grand opening of the Scone Age Bakery and Cafe a week so that she could be at the annual Macaroni and Cheese Fall Festival. So shout out to Chef Shelley. Her new place is going to open on the 14th of November. We're trying to get her on because, when you're opening a new restaurant, if you've never opened a new restaurant, there's about a gazillion things you have to do. But I was chatting with her, and we're going to try to get her on next Monday's show so she can tell everybody, so she can make all you guys hungry. And then we had PB and Jelly Deli. We had Jimmy Bodine's Barbecue. And let me tell you, that family did not stop all day. He just didn't stop all day. He told me at the end of the festival that a couple weekends before, he had done a festival that had been going on for 14 years. And I gotta move this. I mean, it's in the way.
Yeah, it's in the way.
Okay. I can't, honey. I'm in the middle of a show. I can't be moving microphones. So Jimmy Bodine's was talking to me afterwards, and he said that he had done a festival a couple weekends before that was like in the 14th year, and that he was busier at Mac and Cheese, which was fantastic. So that's cool. And then Brain Freeze Please, who won Tampa Bay Sweetest Treats, and Artisan Coffee Company. So, and Funnel Cake some more. Yeah, I think that was Lorraine.
Yeah, that was Lorraine.
That was Lorraine. They had fried Oreos, y'all.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
wow.
see. Here's the thing: when I'm doing an event, I don't usually eat because I run the entire day. I'm not kidding. I run the entire day, and it give me an upset stomach if I put something in it. So we do want to thank all of the food vendors that were able to make it out, and all of the market vendors who also came out to meet with our guests that arrived. We want to also be very grateful for all of our sponsors. Ignite Chiropractic and Wellness, that's with Dr. Serrano. If you missed my interview with him, we interviewed him last week. That's found on our Shop Local for Good YouTube channel. And then United Vein Centers with that's Vicky. She's phenomenal and very passionate about helping people identify potential vein issues and getting them help. They did vein screenings out there, and then we also had the law offices of Fran Hosh. They came back and sponsored again this year, and we also were major sponsors. The MarketSpace for Good was a major sponsor. Shop Local for Good was a major sponsor. And the Benevolution Foundation was a major sponsor of the festival. Now, I do want to pivot a little. We have the MarketSpace for Good is going to be opening at our new location in downtown Clearwater in the Creative Suites of Station Square on November 10th. We are going to be doing an indoor-outdoor market because we do have a creative suite inside. And it's pretty gorgeous. And so we are hanging the shelves for the inside this week, and we are actively seeking outside vendors for the beautiful patio that is right on the side of the building. What's really awesome about having the market out there is we'll have approximately 10 to 20 vendors on the interior, and we'll also have 10 to 12 vendors outside on the patio. And Shop Local for Good has invested in event tents so that our vendors will be under a tent and have a table, and they'll be able to reach into the community and show their wares. So we do have a few spaces available. That's the Saturday Community Market. Once again, that's the Saturday Community Market on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and update the shoplocalforgoodnews.com Facebook page. Website. Shop Local for Good News website, to put all of these opportunities on our front page. So if you are if you do local handcrafts, if you handcraft jewelry, we are looking for local specialty foods to add to. Aunt Nisi's is actually one of our founding members of the MarketSpace for Good, and DJ's Homemade Salsa is another one of our founding members of MarketSpace for Good. The project has been live since July, and we're just refocusing into another part of town. We were in the West Lowman neighborhood, and we had the opportunity to move our operations into downtown Clearwater. We haven't totally. The Benevolution Foundation is still going to work on assisting the West Lowman neighborhood, but we needed to move to where we would have customers. And so, once again, when you're a small business owner, it is okay. It is truly honorable to be philanthropic, but you also have to have realism in your life. And when you are dealing with basically what the Market Space for Good is, we're an entrepreneur incubator. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am not perfect. So the goal is teaching people how to be stubborn to a point, but know when to pivot. Because my personality, especially, is I hate to fail. I'm a perfectionist, so I will go to all ends of the earth, sometimes at the detriment of my health. I was being fussed at, by the way, by a 15-year-old on the way home from macaroni and cheese because I didn't eat all day. So you've got to have self-care. This is Monday Motivation. I'm giving you some tips from the trenches. You have to know when to pivot. So the Market Space for Good moving from West Lowman to downtown Clearwater was a pivot. It is a pivot for good, because most of our founders are coming with us. A couple of them weren't able to continue, and we understand that. But we do have a great group of founding vendors that are moving in with us, so that leaves more opportunity for the community to get involved. So we do have some openings for the Saturday Community Market that is launching this Saturday. If you go to the Shop Local for Good event page, you can find the Saturday Community Market on there, or you can go to the Market Space for Good page, and the Saturday Community Market event is there too. And the link for our inquiry form is there. And the reason why we do an inquiry form is because we want to make sure that we honor our non-compete clause. So what our non-compete clause is if you're a handcrafter, market vendor, and we have someone else is selling an item that is too similar to yours, we will definitely ask you to come another week. We are registering for weeks from November to April. So there's plenty of weeks open, and we do want to make sure that we have a variety each week. So even if we tell you that there's a spot not available, you want to make sure that you pick all the weeks that you're interested in, and we could get back with you on a backup. So what we're doing with the Saturday market is we want to bring a market into downtown Clearwater to connect the community and to offer some unique items to shop early for the holidays. That would be great. That would be really great. When you have to multitask. I am multitasking on the radio right now. And just a shout out to my producer. I've got another caller just texted me. He's calling back in. It's Andre. Thank you. So that's the Saturday Community Market opportunity. There's another opportunity. Shop Local for Good has an opportunity to, you'll be a member of Shop Local for Good as a merchant member. This is a very limited opportunity, because what it comes with is huge. I am actually giving 50% off market opportunities, markets or community festivals, 50% off your vendor fee. I'm not giving it away. Obviously, there's a membership fee. For $99, you can get 50% off of up to 10 markets, festivals with Shop Local for Good. That is a minimum savings of $250 over the next year. And then we also have some specials on radio advertising, and we have some other specials too. But that one part is huge. Oh, and then when you're a member of Shop Local for Good, a Premier Vendor member, we're gonna showcase you on the Premier page on our website too. So that's a huge thing, and basically what we did that for, I do want to be 100% upfront. The investment that we made in the event tents and the tables and the market, where we are crowdfunding to cover some of that expense, and we're also crowdfunding through the Shop Local for Good membership to expand on the MarketSpace for Good. Thank you, Ed. Hi, Andre.
Good morning.
I am so glad you got to call back in.
Yeah.
We're truly multitasking, because I know you have a couple of you have a rider that you take to work, and then you have a young man that you take to the bus stop, which I think is a fantastic idea for moms out there.
Yeah, I just had to call Mom, let her know he wasn't ready.
Uh-oh. Busted.
So Mom's like, don't worry about it. I guess we're going to figure it out. He's going to miss school today.
Uh-oh. Okay. Hey, so let's go back to talking about Urban Angels Transport Service, and I want you to let me know if you don't mind our neighbors knowing, because you were telling me how you're planning on getting technical. Do you mind talking about that?
Well,
With
basically, I'm trying to line things up as just be another way of helping out the community, is opening up jobs, opportunity.
Right.
And so many different ways of helping people in the community with the transport business.
I was talking about the mobile app.
Yeah, I'm just going to get to it.
Oh, okay.
Once
Sorry.
I get everything lined up as far as with the mobile app, I want to have a compatible app like Uber and Lyft.
Yeah.
Mainly just focus on Pinellas County, Pasco, Sarasota, Bradenton, Tampa Bay area.
Right.
Right now, I have a team of drivers. But like I said, because of so much craziness out there, like I said, we're trying to build a small community of safe drivers for people they build a relationship with. Once the app is available, they will be able to download the app, use it just like Uber and Lyft. They will be able to choose their driver.
I like that a lot.
Actually build that personal relationship with your driver. You know what to expect from them. You have the choice to use credit card, PayPal, if you want to use cash. Because some people, like me, I'm scared to have my cards on me because I go swipe crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're having fun, you just go to swiping away. So most people, I'm old-fashioned. I was raised by my grandparents, to keep cash. Because once the cash runs out, we just need to, end the day.
Right.
Keep track and budget. So cash works out for a lot of people when it comes to transportation. Cars a lot. We're just trying to make it very convenient for people.
Right. Well, and some in the senior crowd, they get overwhelmed by, and like you said, your grandparents. That is a perfect way to budget. By the way, it's just
Yeah.
really great. The envelope.
And,
Have you heard of the
and I'm just,
envelope process?
no, no.
Oh, it's pretty cool. When you get paid on Friday, you have envelopes for certain bills that are
Mhm.
due in the
Oh,
month, and you,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. They taught me that. They didn't call it that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly. Yep.
it's pretty
Yep.
cool. And then whatever's
I,
left, you can put in your Mad Money. I love that process.
mm-hmm. And again, um, because the technology moves so fast, I deal with a lot of seniors, a lot of people in the VA, and you know, sometimes we have to go to our kids and stuff to try to figure out some of this technology.
Yeah,
So I'm very big on keeping things simple and communication. A lot of problems you have a lot of these corporations and businesses, they forget to have a customer service. People want someone they can pick up the phone and talk to. I don't want to talk to a bunch of prongs in a computer animated system where you're asking the same question multiple times. By the time I actually get a chance to speak to someone, I'm a irate customer.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
amen.
computer has made me irate. So, I mean, customer service, that shows how even companies are getting lazy to where they don't want to communicate with people. You have to communicate. That's a very big thing in any relationship, whether it's business, friendship, marriage, communication.
And I
We
think
lack the
that's yeah, I
communication.
think that's what draws me. I think that's what's always drawn me to the small business owners over the
Hmm.
mega corporations.
Yeah,
Not
because
to
everything's rush with them.
yeah, and I mean not to the people that work for them are our neighbors, the big guys. So, and there's some fantastic there's some fantastic people that work for corporations. But I have a heart because I know how hard these small business owners are working, like
Hmm.
yourself, and
Hmm.
building a relationship with a small business owner, like for example Edgewater in Maine, up in Tarpon Springs.
Hmm.
Clyde and Michael Hutchings, I've known them for years, and they're mentors of mine now. I mean, they've been mentors of mine for years. They were leaders in the safety harbor business community, and they've given me some really good advice over the years. And so, building those relationships is vital.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of people that I look up to, like for example, my son's grandfather. He's in the Safety Harbor, Palm Harbor area. This, Spalding family, Wayne Spalding.
Yeah, I know
Um,
them. Yay.
yeah, that's my son's the grandfather of Wayne Spalding, and he has Florida columns on Spalding Craft. He's one man I watched, and I admire a lot of things that he's accomplished in his approach as a businessman and his patience and dedication. And I've learned a lot from someone like that as well. And one thing he's taught me is no matter how big your business gets, because he's been in Forbes magazine twice for Entrepreneur of the Year. I mean, very successful man designing his own speedboat back in the late '70s.
Wow.
And regardless of how big you get and how fast things go, you can't never get caught up in forgetting things that we shouldn't, the little things.
Right.
We can't get beside ourselves and think the little things don't matter no more because things are getting so big.
Well, like
So,
for example, the Strass family. He,
hmm
he started out kind of like me. I started out. Oh boy, this is gonna age me. I was a young entrepreneur, and I don't know if you have ever heard of Grit magazine. That you would order like a stack of them, and they're like newspapers. As a kid, you could do this way back, and you would order a stack of them for a certain price, and then you would go around and sell them to your neighbors. And
oh,
yeah, and then my brothers and I would mow lawns during the summer. Now the reason why we did that is because my father gave us what we called lovingly a Kmart budget for our clothes for school, and I
hmm
and I had a Moz Brothers, you know, that I wanted the Jordache jeans and the leather high top Nikes. So
oh,
I got the Kmart budget, worked my butt off all summer, enough to probably buy, I know it was one pair of shoes and maybe two pairs of jeans. And my tops, now I'll go thrift store shopping for my tops because you can find some really cool stuff there. But I wanted those name brands, and my father was trying to instill in us a respect for how hard it is to get what you want. And I still look by that today, So I've been working basically since I was 12 or 13, whenever middle school is, because that's when I wanted those clothes. And I will tell you that those jeans and those shoes lasted me all year. I didn't throw them around. I mean, I was hand washing.
Yes, we can't wait for no shrinking or fading. We need this to last.
Yep. And I had one pair of them until just approximately, oh my goodness, maybe I probably still have it in the back of a closet. And when the ripped jeans came into fashion, well, I'd had those jeans for so long that they had holes in them, so that's why they were in the back of the closet about 10 years ago. And then that came into fashion, and I'm like, dude, I could wear my middle school jeans and be in
Right.
fashion again.
You were ahead of your time.
But
You-
it's all about instilling like work ethic and empathy in our children because they're our
Yes, it is.
future. Yeah.
Yeah, and education is so big, it's so important.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer that teachers need a raise. People need to give more salute and props to these teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, most people go through it with their one child, right? They have
Right.
a child, stresses them out throughout the day from work. What do you think this lady or man goes through when you drop your child off with them and they have another 20 you have to deal with?
I know.
If your one child or two children stress you out, what do you think a teacher goes through and you drop them off with them for a while?
Right.
you know? So I believe they truly deserve a raise,
Yeah, they do.
a salute. Those are the ones who will make the true leaders, and it takes a good person, a special person, just like a doctor or a nurse and an officer of the law. I mean, it takes special people to get involved and really care and be passionate to pass something so special on.
Right.
And I feel that's what we're lacking at. We're not, recognizing that. We're not really executing that, the importance of that. 'Cause I remember when I was in school, right, and I used to get in trouble. I went to Catholic schools, private schools, just you name it, public. And from going to school in New York City and here in Florida, you see the difference as far as the strategy of teaching.
Okay.
The curriculum difference. Also, what I noticed is, like I said, the approach of teaching. Like I would get into a class. Like I always loved math and history. I loved it.
Oh, see,
Okay.
I knew you were my people. Two of my favorite subjects.
Yes,
Okay.
I love math and history. Now, my mom, she would watch how my grades would be like unbelievable. Straight A's and B's coming from New York City. Seeing how this was working out for me in math and history. Then I come down and I would go to school here in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And then she would notice my grades would go down. Here comes the C's and the D's, and it's like, what's going on? What's different?
You were
And
bored.
she's like, okay, yes.
Yep.
The approach. It wasn't the curriculum. It was the approach of the teacher.
Yeah.
Because just like anything in the workplace, you can have a supervisor that you work for, but everyone's approach and training is different. You can have a supervisor whose training is so boring, and you're just not going to learn anything during that training.
Right.
And when you put out in the field to uphold the duties of your job, it looks like you don't know what you're doing because the teaching wasn't right, or they didn't know how to keep you involved. So teaching is actually a skill.
Yes.
It's a talent. It's like an entertainer. You have to know how to entertain a crowd when you're on stage. You have to keep them involved. So a teacher has to have that ability and that talent and that skill, just like a performer, to perform for their students, keep them involved, make it fun, and, make it where they want it.
Right.
Because we don't know what we want until we start getting it and see how it, how it works out. But if you don't know if you don't know something's good for you, then you don't know how to accept it. You know how important it is to take it.
Now, when we first met you in person, you showed me a card of someone that you cared about a lot, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel comfortable giving
Yeah, that's fine.
her and her family a shout out.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Angela Robinson. She just passed away on us about a month and a half ago. Um, just turned 25 in April. Um, it's a sad passing. She was brought home early, but she's in a better place. But
Right.
she was actually the face of the company. Um, so a lot of my motivation is to keep the company going in full throttle and taking it to another level for her. And because she's going, she lives on with us and the family and everyone every day, and also through this business. A lot of clients that we have is through her. So it's a lot of things that we're trying to do to keep this company growing for her. I mean, it's Urban Angels, and she was an angel, and she is an angel. So every day she's riding right along with it.
Well,
So
and I think that's really very special, and it also is a good point to be made that every family-owned small business has a story, and getting to know the stories of the small business community has been a blessing for me. And when you told me that when we first met, it almost it formed a bond. I knew that we were going to be lifetime friends just after we met, and I figured out that you and I were the same kind of person.
yeah.
Just
So I'm not gonna. So I'm letting you know now. I'm not gonna sign the divorce papers. Okay.
no,
Start
no,
with
no, no, no. My husband would have a problem with that. Did you get to? I've been married for 30 years. It's too
Hey,
late now.
smart man.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you got a chance to meet him at the event.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing everything. He's just like you. Everybody was all over the place. We have an awesome family. And I
Thank
like the
you.
way you guys were working in sync. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, it was.
So in the beginning of the show, okay, you need to take that call.
No. I'm saying especially
Okay.
for the cause of what you were doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there was some great nonprofits out there. Now I do have a survey available. And I got a Facebook message from one of my friends. They're like, because I put together a Google form, because I was getting feedback from people in different places, and what I was mentioning on the show earlier is I'm okay with constructive criticism. I'm 100% okay with it because first of all, I am those people who maybe had a challenge. I don't want them to have a negative perception of my company
Right.
or my nonprofit. And if I can address the issue that they had or maybe learn from them and do better next time, I'm all about it. So I set up a Google form and posted it in the event. A friend of mine sent me a private message. She goes, "You are insane." I'm like, "No, I'm just trying to get all the messages into one format. Plus, it gives me an opportunity to direct their energy into answering questions that I do need answered too." Um,
Right.
and of course, when I posted that, it's unfortunate, but the people who complain often are. The people who compliment are often way outnumbered by the people who complain, which is totally fine. I'm one of those weirdos because I get a kick out of it. If I go into a restaurant and I have good service and good food, I will ask for the manager. Now, it's kind of mean of me, sort of, because I find it funny that the manager comes over and is pretty sure that he's going to have a horrible day because I'm going to complain. And then when I
Right.
start telling him about how great everything is, the look on his face is priceless for me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
because more people need to compliment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Most people need to do that. They need to, say, "Hey, thanks for your service.
Yes,
Hey, thank you for taking the time out to, be here today and make this happen."
right.
People forget that, and that's how we were all raised. We were brought up that way of respect. It's sad. Like I could walk around all day, and you wouldn't believe how many times I watch a woman walk through a door and have to open it, and so many men walk by and won't even open it for them.
Now let me tell
Simple
you,
things like that. Simple things like that.
yeah, and I will tell you an interesting story about that. I was up in Washington D.C. And I'm going to just tell you that I don't like mass transportation. I'm a Florida girl. I love my car. I will always love my car.
Hmm.
And the metros just turn my head and spin my head around. Now, I am also an observer of people. And this just isn't in Washington, D.C., because I see it happening around here too. Um, Guys not getting up and letting ladies sit is a huge issue for me. I'm so old school on that.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I've been in events around here. Now I was talking to a young man up in DC while I was riding the rail, and I mentioned it to him because he did get up and he ended up standing by me, and I said, "Thank you for doing that." And he says, "Well, I will tell you that he says I've been yelled at by women for asking them if they want my seat because
Right.
and see that's on the women. If you're going to yell at someone for trying to be polite and respectful, then you just need to not do that. um,
Right.
but then and then I'm in events around here, and I will tell you right now, if my 30-year-old son, if I walked into an event and there was a woman standing and he was sitting in a chair, I'd still pull him out by his ear.
Oh yeah, me too. I snatched my son up ASAP immediately. We wouldn't even play like that.
It's
You
so
know.
it's how we raise our kids, but yeah, but and then you have to realize the other side. This poor guy who did get up and was raised right is up in Washington D.C. and getting yelled at by people, ladies that he's trying to be polite to. That's just rude.
Hmm. It's the
Anyway,
truth.
that's my rant for the day. Monday motivation rant.
Gary and Denise are watching.
Hey, we got a couple of people on Facebook Live. Gabby with It Works and Denise with Aunt Niecy's. She won foodie favorite. Oh, you got to try our fruit butters. I'll have to get you a jar.
Denise asked, who are you talking to?
We are talking to Andre with Urban Angels Transport. So apparently our Facebook Live listeners cannot hear you. So, but they will be able to hear on the YouTube replay. So Urban Angels Transport, you can find them on Facebook. I did put your Facebook page in the Facebook Live event.
Now, are you able to share that YouTube link of the show?
Yes, we will upload it later. What we have to do is the Tan Talk Radio Network is phenomenal. When you're a host of a show, they do a live streaming on their Tan Talk Radio Network YouTube channel. And then what my amazingly, fantastically technology not challenged 21-year-old does after the show is she converts their video into an MP4 so that I can put it on our channel. So it'll be up on the Shop Local for Good YouTube channel later today.
Awesome.
And so, if you have a small business and you're looking for an opportunity to be interviewed by the Shop Local for Good News team, I'm just going to give a little plug while you're on the air. Do you mind? There are multiple ways that we want to support our small businesses in the community. So if you want to be a guest on the show, we have those opportunities. I wanted to have Andre on because not only did he really save my butt for mac and cheese transportation services, he also has some amazing community ideas that I see us working together on in the future. So I wanted to get him on board.
Glad to be on board.
So your page is Urban Angels Transport Service LLC. That's
Correct.
on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give them a like on Facebook. And to get in touch with you for transportation services, is that the best way? Send your page a message, or do you have a better contact?
Yes, you catch us on Facebook, or like I say, I'm waiting to get this app together. Then that'll be available on Google Play Store and the other outlet for apps. But in the meantime, they can always contact us on Facebook, or you can always reach out. I can provide the phone number, which is 727-314-0600. And again, that number is 727-314-0600. And you can also contact another number as well, and that is 813-455-7609. And again, that number is 813-455-7609. And I'm Andre Johnson. I'm the Vice President of Operations. So I'll be the one mainframe as far as putting together your transport needs, whether it's a family reunion or a drive to the cruise port or to the casino. We'll make it happen.
Oh, I might have to do a casino run.
Yeah, we're all about that.
Get a bunch of friends together.
Yeah, and that's when we can pull out the Mercedes again.
Wow, that'd be fun. Because life isn't all about work. You gotta take some time for yourself. That'll be. Then
You have to take time out to love yourself.
Yeah.
You have to, because if you don't, it's like I tell my mom. She works at Morrison Hospital. She also does private duty. It's like, come on, woman, you're almost 7 years old. Do you think you're going to slow down? She try to keep 3 jobs. It's like, you need to take time out to love yourself. Go to the beach. Go do something. Go get with the girlfriends and have your girls' night out. You need to do something and love yourself. Go out and enjoy yourself. So every day is not work. You need to enjoy yourself and have fun.
Yeah, life is too short. My mom actually passed away in a car accident when I was 26 or 7. So, and that's a devastating loss, and that changed me though. I was busy, and when something like that happens to you, and see, my mother was a serial volunteer. That's my nickname, by the way, and I'm not talking about Lucky Charms. I was raised that way, and so when you're raised that way, then and you're a teenager, and I would fuss at her, Mom, you're always doing for others. You need to do for yourself, that kind of thing. Now I hear my mom, coming out of my voice. See, I find joy in helping other people. I really don't ever need to be a millionaire. If I was a millionaire, I'd have even more joy by giving to others, because that's how my 99-year-old grandmother is.
Yeah.
I had to learn early that when you walked into Granny's house, if you complimented her shirt, and I'm not kidding you, if you told her that her shirt looked nice, she would go into her bedroom and change out of that shirt and give it to you because she thought you liked it. I ended up with more shirts that way.
That's a wonderful heart.
And I'm like, Granny, I like that shirt for you.
Right. Yeah. She's wonderful. Angel.
So, Urban Angels Transport Service, you provide a lot of different options. So, if you're looking to have a safe party atmosphere, a party transportation.
Yes.
Now, do you also work with do you also have a party bus?
So we can get that too. Yeah, we have access to the party buses. And so that's the main thing about this company. I mean, it's all about customizing.
Right.
We do is separate us from other means of transportation. We will customize it. So if you want to figure out, you're in a business trip, for example, and you say you have some nice executives coming into town and you want to try to, impress. It's the business world. Hey, we can have you picked up in the Maserati if you want to, Porsche convertible, whatever you need. We will find a way to make that happen for you.
And that's the difference between working with a locally owned small business and the big guys.
Yes, and we're not trying to price gouge. Right? Some of the prices we throw at people, it's like, and most customers, they're asking, like, well, what do you charge for this?
Mm-hmm.
And I ask them, I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? And they're confused. Like, what do you mean? It's like, well, how do you want to come out? Do you want elegant? Do you want to keep it simple?
Right.
Do you want to, you let me know, because wherever you want to take it, we will find a way to make it happen.
Oh, honey, your prices are extremely reasonable. I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
From one small business owner to another.
Yeah, that's what it's about, It's not about trying to hurt one another. It's about just making it happen and providing services and things that we need to help one another grow.
Well, and I love the flexibility. Mainly because I'm an outside the box thinker. So if I can work with someone like Urban Angels Transport Service and
Hmm.
come up with a unique idea that I want to do, and you can work around that, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that's that's what we try to do. That's what we work on to separate us from other means of transportation companies.
Well, and it's really cool that you kind of did an insider view of the challenges that the mega transportation services were doing and figured out a more effective, personalized way to bring transportation service to our community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
it's a lot.
you give back, which makes
Yeah,
you one of the good guys,
yeah, that's what it's all about, giving back. But, everyone playing their part. And if everyone plays their part, it's not much we all have to do.
right?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And it makes a big difference.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in, especially in between two drivers. We're going to have to do a little bit of a wrap up, and we will talk again, my friend. I'm sure of it. Thanks
Yeah.
again. Once
Yes,
again,
ma'am.
that's Andre Johnson with Urban Angels Transport Service. You can connect with his team at 727-314-0600. That's 727-314-0600 or 813-455-7609. That's 813-455-7609. Or you can find them on Facebook at Urban Angels Transport Service LLC. Thank you again.
Thank you for having us, ma'am.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Have a great Monday.
You too.
Okay. All right. We're gonna do we're doing the 3 minute countdown. Thank you, Ed. So here's what we got. Here's what we got going on this week. We've got the grand opening of the Saturday Community Market. Very, very, very excited about that. If you are a local vendor, making really cool locally produced stuff, products and products, we want to touch base with you. So go to the Shop Local for Good page and find the event. It's the Saturday Community Market, and the inquiry form to fill out it's a Google form, and you fill that out and we get back with you on availability. We've got weeks available from November to April 2019, so get in early, because boy, when we take off, which anyone who knows me knows I'm committed about doing growing things. That's how I took the mac and cheese festival from 3,000 interested in 2017 to over 14,000 interested in 2018. That was fantastic. The MarketSpace for Good, our creative suite, that's at Stations Creative Suites of Station Square, Suite 11, will also be opening November 10th that day. So we will be having an indoor-outdoor market. We do have opportunities available there starting November 20th. And so if you want to have a retail space, we're hashtag more than a shelf. We are also an entrepreneur incubator. And we will be working with our market vendors at the community Saturday market too. We have a unique marketing strategy. We are going to be canvassing neighborhoods surrounding the downtown area, and we're also going to be visiting business owners in the community to touch base with them and see if we can work together on promoting each other's businesses. So it's going to be a very busy week this week. We want you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Shop Local for Good on YouTube, or go to our Facebook page, and you'll find us there. That's Shop Local for Good. This is Karena Morrison with ShopLocalForGoodNews.com. ShopLocalForGoodNews.com. We're on live at the Tantalk Radio Network every Monday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in, and we will be back next week.